The gentleman from Florida.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a lot more questions than we have time to have answered here today. I wish I could have about an hour with each of you individually.
Well, of course, we do have the option of getting the answers, follow-up answers in writing, which we would then
thank you,
put on the
Mr.
record.
Chairman. I was going to ask for your permission to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I'd appreciate from all of you, if you can see your way clear, would be a one-page summary, not a book, a one-page summary of how each of you, without corroborating your theories with each other, what you think the root cause of this financial crisis is. You know, not just the word greed, but if your life depended on solving this puzzle, how would you do it? And what do all the indicators point to? And if you think that Congress is somehow culpable, I would expect you to say that in all honesty and forthrightness, for which you all have a reputation. You know, stealing's still stealing, even if the government's sitting on a caper, unfortunately. Also, since time won't allow an answer to these, I just will request that you respond to us in writing. First, to Governor Duke, number of employees that you have and the number of prosecutions and convictions to date that you've had. To Mr. Dugan, if and when you find criminal conduct, you said you would refer it to an agency. I want to know how often you've ever found criminal conduct and who you referred it to. Commissioner Walter, I noticed in your testimony you have 1,100 attorneys in your organization. It looks like an attorney handles a case every other year. It doesn't say anything about convictions. I'm interested in knowing how many convictions they've ever had, if any. I want to know, after the Madoff fiasco, when Mr. Markopoulos took that thick dossier to your organization almost a decade ago and tried to get them to investigate Bernard Madoff, and you refused to do it, your agency, not you. I wonder what discipline was taken for the employees who disregarded the best interests of the citizens of this country and allowed that to be perpetrated and allowed $75 billion to disappear from the face of the earth. You know, there are quite a few people in my constituency that think crime wouldn't pay if the SEC was in charge of it. You know, just to put it in a local perspective, if you have local police force and your street cops write one ticket every other year, you probably have more than you need, or they're not doing enough. Now, Mr. Gruenberg, yours doesn't say how many employees you have or how many prosecutions or convictions you've had, just that you've had 4,375 mortgage fraud claims filed, and they're expected to result in 900 additional civil mortgage fraud lawsuits over the next 3 years. I'd like your estimate, your prognosis, on what you think the success rate will be, what justice you think will come to the American public, what amount of money you think we'll be able to recover from the bad people involved in that. Mr. Pokaloff, there's a list attached of total numbers of OTS formal enforcement actions. It's a very, very modest number. It looks like it's probably under 200. I wonder how many employees it takes to get this many enforcement actions. But more importantly, I'd like to know how many of them were criminally prosecuted successfully, and how many of them you expect to see successfully prosecuted. Thank you. Ms. Glavin, your agency has 62,000 suspicious activity reports. I'd be interested in knowing or having a breakdown of how those were handled and how they were referred. And that was between just the years of 2007 and 2008. I wonder if your agency needs an invitation to invite the companies who received TARP money to be investigated under the RICO, the racketeering statutes, if you would need Congress to ask you to do that, or if somebody from the Treasury or someone else could ask for that. I think the public would just like a good cleansing of the possibility that there's racketeering involved. You know, Ken Lay went to prison for fleecing investors. We've got people in some of these companies that have fleeced every member of the American public and future generations as well. And I think the public deserves to know there was no racketeering involved, if in fact there wasn't any. And I would pose that same question basically to the FBI. You know, would like a short summary of the prognosis you have for the team you established in 2008. You know, unfortunately, I think we were a day late and a dollar short in getting in front of this crime wave. We got behind it, and we've got a lot of cleanup to do. But I'd like your thoughts as to a prognosis, what you forecast statistically, if necessary, to be the consequences and result of the new fraud team that you have put in place there. And again, I would wonder if you have done any investigations on any of the companies that received TARP money or bailout money, and if you haven't, what it would take to have you take a perfunctory view to see if there's evidence of racketeering there. I think much of the public suspects that it's there, and for better or for worse, I think we probably deserve to know. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for indulging.
Yeah, we would like those answers, obviously, in writing. They'll be made part of the record and shared with all members of the committee. The